We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
Well, good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. And guess what? Guess what time it is? It's December time. Who would have believed it? I thought it was just November or October. I mean, the year is flown by so fast. I want to thank all our supporters and all the people who came to our breakfast out in the cold on November 11th. They were really interested, and life is good. We just really thank our supporters. I want to thank Eric because he always does such a good job. Even when I'm late sending him the information, he's right on it. I thank you, Eric. I really appreciate you. I want to appreciate my guest right now. I'm going to bring on Mr. Rye. He's just might as well real regular. He's going to be talking about way down yonder, talking about Georgia. Georgia's on his mind.
Yeah, that's very true, Reverend Harriet. Georgia's on a lot of people's minds because of the fact there's a possibility if the most qualified candidate wins, Reverend Raphael Warnock, the current senator, that there'll be some Joe Manchin protection in the Senate. And also the fact that it will not be co-chairs by having the majority, they'll be chairing the committees. And it'll be a good thing because they're going to need someone to keep the House of Representatives in balance because of the fact the Republicans did take that over. And with the ilk of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz, the child molester, and these folks are going to be on these committees, and Jim Jordan, Congressman Hank Johnson called him GYM Jordan, because he was assistant wrestling coach at Ohio State University when the doctor was molesting the athletes, and he knew about it, didn't say anything. So, matter of fact, I saw one interview about 6 or 7 months ago. One of the former wrestlers said, the host said, "What would you do if you saw Jim Jordan?" He said, "I would kick his A." So,
oh my goodness!
Yeah, so I mean, so they think that they campaign on crime, and I guess they forget January 6th and all the stuff with Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. But anyway, the crime and inflation, and as soon as they won, what do they talk about? We're going to investigate Hunter Biden. We're going to investigate Fauci. We're going to investigate. So, and that's why it's a good thing if Reverend Warnock can win re-election. That would keep the House in balance. Even if he didn't, we're still with the vice president as a tiebreaker with the 50-50. But by having 51, you chair the committees. You don't co-chair, and they'll they'll be in the right position to keep that out of control members of the House in check, because we're going to have some. And it's going to be interesting to see, because you got people coming out now talking about who's going to be the Speaker of the House. But one thing I am pleased with is to see the transition of power in the House, with the guys that's my age stepping away and letting Hakeem Jeffries and Pete Aguilar, and I can't remember the lady's name right now, but all three of them are excellent people. They have the background, and they have something that I wish the Seahawks would have kept, and that's on the field to train some younger people. But they'll have the Clyburns and the Steny Hoyers and the Speaker Pelosi still around, so they'll have that. But at the same time, I do agree with the transition of power, that to have the younger folks step up to the plate. And I mean, I'm in the process of trying to do the same. Some things I have to do on my own, but we made a smooth transition several years ago with the Martin Luther King Committee. And we have folks like Sade Moore, Bobby Alexander, folks who are in their early 30s who are running things now, and they're both super qualified to do that. And I'll just get out the way. If they want my opinion, I'll give it to them. But I'm certainly not going to interfere with the committee, because these people are coming together making decisions. And who am I to say that I don't agree with their decision? I support whatever the committee agrees to. That's what I support. And that will be on January 16th at Garfield High School. The Opportunity Fair will be the first thing that's going on. And several years ago, we said, people come to this march and talk about Martin Luther King. We need to have people leaving with something. So we've had about 40 or 50 different agencies and business organizations and unions out there. We had a resume building room, so people would have their resume updated on their iPhone. They could go around and drop their resume up. And I think the last time we had it, 78 people had requests for interviews, and a lot of them got jobs.
Oh,
Now
that's good.
back to the main job, and that's Raphael Warnock. I hope that everybody that didn't vote tomorrow, because early voting is over. But it did break records, and I know
It
that.
did. It
And I
did.
know
And when
that
they break records, that means a lot of black people showed up, and a lot of young white people showed up too.
that's
That really voted. But I think you mentioned that to me earlier today
yeah. I
about
saw
that.
that. Yeah, I saw that on TV this morning. It was a sizable number of young whites who were there supporting Representative Warnock, and that thing. It's changing. I mean, Herschel Walker was an outstanding football player. He lives in Texas. He has a horrible past, but like the folks said, we don't care. We want control, and they take probably
Well,
a
if they took Trump, they'll take Walker.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
You're
mean,
exactly
Trump is
right.
the standard. Trump
Oh,
is the
that's
standard,
great.
So I mean, it's a
But I don't
ragtag
know.
party. It's
His
a
comment
ragtag
about
party.
getting rid of the Constitution didn't go over too well. So hopefully
Well, yeah, yeah,
some of those
and
spineless Republicans will start standing up to this man
yeah,
who's
yeah.
trying to destroy democracy, and they're
Well,
going. Their silence is complicit. They're going right along with challenging the Constitution and destroying democracy. That's what it's
well,
all about. And even Mike Pence, Mike, I'm sorry. You got
Mike,
to
bless his
stop being
heart.
a wimp, man. You got to stop being a wimp. You'll sit up and say something about we can't anybody fool with the Constitution, but he won't mention Trump's name.
Yeah, I saw that.
They tried to abduct you
I
to
saw
keep
that.
you away
Yeah,
from certifying
yeah.
the election, and you still won't say anything. So he will never be the leader of the Republican Party because the man lacks spine. He really does.
But he likes courage. I mean, well, a
That's
lot of
exactly
them do.
what
I
it is.
mean, courage. Courage is. It's something about courage. It's contagious. Once you stand up, other people find their strength. And so, with the guy leading the party, it's nobody that seems to have, except for Liz Cheney and a few. I saw yesterday where someone that just got elected for as a Republican in New Jersey was telling him that they're tired of hearing this story now. I mean, he said, "We're tired of hearing your story. What you're saying isn't true." So it's gonna take a few of them to stand up, and that's all it's gonna take is a few of them, and then some of the ones that's way out there, like you got a guy in this state. He wants to have the counts to have the votes be accounted
Oh,
because
Joe
it's
Kent out
25.
of the third congressional district down in the Vancouver
Mm-hmm.
area. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's all the way out there too. But that's just another good thing. About 90% of Trump's election denier candidates lost, which is a
yeah,
good thing.
and
And the
and and
thing,
and, so he's shown the party that he can't win. I mean, really, he's not a winner. I mean, the winner that he think he is in his head. And then I guess when he goes to his media platform, all he does is, I mean, he's really, really losing his mind out in public. I mean, if it was Obama, they'd have him in a straitjacket already.
well, I'm glad Obama went down to Georgia because he really lit Herschel Walker up. He said,
Oh yeah, when he told Herschel Walker was
he
talking about
wanted,
something that didn't make sense, and people didn't know what he was talking about.
yeah, he was talking about he wanted to be a vampire, and he found out a werewolf could kill a vampire.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so President Obama said, "Yeah, he's doing something to people in Georgia." He said, "I had the same debate when I was 7." I mean, he is the best campaigner because a lot of times I wish he would run for president again. I really do because
Yeah, yeah,
he
but
is
I think
out there
yeah, yeah,
and he's
yeah.
doing an outstanding job. I mean, people really showed up and showed out. So
Well, one of the things though, I think that we're going to have to keep is encouraging people to vote. I mean, because really, why is it so important to vote? Well, because you have representation. You can actually, go see people and have talk people and work on things for the betterment. When you don't vote, well, you do just not respecting your ancestors,
yeah,
because these people went through a whole bunch of stuff in order so we could be here,
that's
and
true.
it is our responsibility to actually keep things going. And I know it's sometimes young people some of them are just fed up with it, but again, the Democrats have to do more for us. I mean, look at the state of Washington. We've had Democrats in charge of the city for 40 years, like brought in weed and seed, and then brought in reason why gentrification. And then you had the governor down there, and we've had all those governors who have blocked progress and not Christine Gregoire didn't give not hardly one penny to the Black community the whole time she was there. She was a 2-term governor.
Well, a lot of that has to do with Governor Gary Locke after I-200 passed. And if people read the voters' pamphlet, I-200 did not kill affirmative action. It said it wanted to eliminate preferences based on race or gender, did not kill affirmative action. In December 1998, Governor Gary Locke issued Executive Governor's Directive 98-01 to all public institutions, including all the colleges, universities, all public entities, saying affirmative action was dead. So that's what, and then recently, when the governor signed his executive order, Jesse Wineberry and former Governor Dan Evans and Christine Gregoire, I had to encourage Gary Locke to rescind the governor's directive so we could have the JN's executive order. The bad thing is that after 23 years of no affirmative action, the latest report from the Office of Minority and Women's Enterprise.
It was terrible. We didn't get any money.
Blacks received 0.18%, not even 0.2. Native Americans received 0.11. And then we come to find out that the Department of Enterprise Services had 1% last year for all minorities. So I'm just saying
who's getting the money? So who's getting the money then? If it's not coming to the so-called people of color, who's getting the money? The Caucasians are getting all the money, including the money that we pay taxes and some of the money that the state collects on the revenue from us.
And I tell you what, it's not going to no ghosts, that's for sure. And
wow.
I'm looking at the records because numbers don't lie. And that's why in November 2022, Bob Armstead filed a civil rights complaint with the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. It was signed on by 21 individuals and organizations in Western Washington. It's been sitting there, but Congressman Benny Thompson, his staff, is now saying they want to look at it. When they saw the OMWE report, they said, this is staggering. And we've been getting put off by the Department of Justice, sent it over to the Department of Transportation.
That's right.
So, if there's discrimination, that's what the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division is supposed to be about. And it's blatant discrimination against African descent of the United States enslaved. I'm not going to say, I can't speak for all Black people, but I am saying for African descent of the United States enslaved, the group of us that have lineage that go back 400 years. Now, that's one of the things we have to look at as well.
That's one thing we have to look at as well. And they have determined that they're going to keep locking us out. And I don't know. I mean, today, I think it was yesterday, maybe today. I think it was yesterday was the beginning of the anniversary, beginning of the Montgomery boycott. So we have not used our last when we decide who we're going to spend our money with and who we're not. Things have changed for us. It's all. That's a dramatic change that we have to have.
I agree, Ramiri. What we need to do is show those black and white films over and over of the attacks of the Edmund Pettus Bridge, of the 3 civil rights workers being killed, where Ronald Reagan had his campaign kickoff in Philadelphia, Mississippi. I think we need to keep showing that stuff over and over and let our people know and let other people know what we had to endure. And 254 years of free labor, slavery. Slavery is the reason why the United States of America is an economic power now, because they had 254 years of free labor. And then the people that fought, like Toussaint Louverture, that freed the Blacks in Haiti, they get punished, have to pay reparations to France and the United States for 50 years. That's why they don't have infrastructure, because they ended slavery. They're the only Western Black country in the Western Hemisphere that they're not subject to France or England, but they fought for their freedom.
That's right.
They get punished, and they got punished.
They got punished.
France,
but also
the United States punished that Black country.
Mississippi and Alabama got punished too, and they're still getting punished because the people, the government in Mississippi, and also in Alabama, decided to let most of the industry go to Atlanta because they didn't want to change their ways. So people are still being punished. The old part of Montgomery, where the Montgomery boycott started, there's no development over there. My stepmother lived in that part. That's the old part of Montgomery. So people are still being punished, and the amount of the amount of utilities. My granddaughter's at Tuskegee. She rents a house. She's not even on campus. The amount they have to pay, she's paying $300 a month for electric for utilities down there, and the infrastructure is not all it's supposed to be. So anyway, people are still having structural racism in those two states that led the civil rights movement. So and that's the piece we don't always know about. See, we all being punished. The
sad thing is that all the countries down, all the states down south, all of them, Blacks are doing more work and more business with those entities of government than we are in Washington State.
Well, I mean, Jackson don't have clean water, so I don't know what we can say about that. And and it was this summer they didn't have when Omaya was down there doing their filming. They were drinking bottled water then. And the state withheld the money that they could do be able to fix the water up for 150,000 people. It's just like what they did in Flint, Michigan. Yeah,
Chokwe Lumumba, the mayor of Jackson, several years ago said the governor and the power structure in Mississippi would not upgrade. And this was 5 years ago,
right?
A Congressional Black Caucus thing. He said they will not upgrade the water facility. And now you got EPA have somebody on point down there right now ensuring it happens, because the government in Mississippi prevented them from doing that. What they do have, though, is like Congressman Benny Thompson was a mayor. He formed the Black Mayors Alliance. When he was county executive, he formed the Black County Executives. So they made sure that their people got some of that business, and that's why they're doing better, because they have majority Black counties and cities down there, although they only have one Black member of the congressional delegation, and that's Congressman Benny Thompson.
Well, that's good to know, but all in all, America is just wanting to change the narrative. They say that they want this country to be a country that was built by immigrants, and they want to write us out. And every day they're writing us out. And Washington State is taking the lead on writing us out of history, because they say Washington wants to be an immigrant state.
I'll tell you one thing. They can stop saying that this country is a nation of immigrants. It's a nation of Indians, immigrants, and slaves. And they don't want to talk about slavery, because that's critical race theory. Anytime you tell the truth about Black history is American history.
Oh, it is. It really is. Well, Mr. Rye, we'll know tomorrow. We'll know by tomorrow night, at least by Wednesday, who's the winner. And my hopes and prayers would be for a miracle for Mr. Warren. Because the other side just got more money. They don't have more character. They just have more money.
Warnock was about 2-1 in terms of money this time around.
Oh, it was.
Before I go, I just want to say that the lady that's coming on your program next, I named my daughter after Angela Davis. Yes, I think she might have been named after Angela Davis.
Yes, indeed. And that's her name. Also, that's her name. She's local.
Yeah, I know. She's a local activist. I know Miss Angela Davis.
Oh yeah. Okay then. Well, thank you, Mr. Rye, for coming on, and I'm sure we'll talk again. So have a good show on Thursday, and I'll be talking to you.
Okay, Reverend Mary, thank you very much. Keep on pushing.
All right. We'll take a break now. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. We'll be right back. Thank you.
There's a Christmas tree in a window frame just inside my door, but my Christmas tree doesn't look the same as it always has before. That's just one lonely.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Every year, Steve Faircal climbs the stairs of the John Hancock Center in Chicago, 94 floors to the top.
It's called the hustle up the Hancock.
It's hard to believe when you watch Steve today that a few years ago, his lungs were failing and he was fighting to survive.
For 8 hours a day, someone was pounding on my chest to try and keep my lungs clear. I honestly don't think I had more than a couple weeks to live.
That's when Steve received the gift of life, a double lung transplant made possible by an organ donor.
After I got my new lungs, I started doing things that I had never been able to do. I never knew that breathing could feel this good.
Steve climbs to honor his donor and to raise awareness for organ, eye, and tissue donation.
Wouldn't you like that when you left this beautiful planet, that you could save a few lives on your way out? It's an incredible gift.
Imagine what you could make possible by leaving behind the gift of life. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Hi, this is Dr. K. Mahina Intron, inviting you to tune in on Mondays on 1150 KKNW at 5 p.m. to Dr. K's Attuning to Your Abundance, where we honor everyday abundance through positive messages, poetry, music, affirmations, and writing exercises. For more information, contact Dr. K Workshops at gmail.com or Facebook, Dr. K's Abundance.
Organic, free range, and fresh daily. Alternative Talk 1150.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. Thank you, Eric, for kicking off the Christmas seasons with a little cheer there. We needed a little cheer to cheer us up. I love this time of the year. I love the lights. I love how the lights light up the darkness, and I love the music. And at heart, I'm still a kid at heart. I mean, I'm a great believer. I believe in magic. I believe in magic of this year and what can happen. I want to bring my next guest on. This is her second time coming on the show. This is Angela Davis, and she's absolutely an activist and actually a real a good teacher of what she's doing in the world. So I want to bring you back on. And how you doing, Miss Davis? Angela, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good evening. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really excited to be here and looking forward to speaking with you on today.
Well, good. We'll have a little time here. I mean, to do that, we'll take a break about 15 minutes from now, and then so you'll be with me for the end for the rest of the show. So I want to bring you back on because I know that you've been doing a lot in the community. I mean, you've been just doing a lot, and I just want to bring you back on so that you can tell everybody in your own words what's happening, and you've had the highs and the lows, but you just keep going. So welcome. Just go ahead. Just tell us about all the good news. I mean, everybody got a little good news. Mr. Rye, even he ended on a little good news.
Yes, he's fabulous. There's a lot of good things and a lot of interesting things. The one thing that I would like to say that Community Connection Seattle Unlimited is a new organization, though I've been in the community for a while. And the goal for Community Connection Seattle Unlimited is to normalize restorative circles, to develop a restorative beacon in every community, with the notion that in every city, there's several police precincts, and I'm upholding all the good. All these things are of necessity. But if we can have 5 police precincts in one city, why can't we have an identifiable restorative circle beacon so that restorative circles are a normalized way of being in the city, county, state? And so that's the main goal, that's the main purpose, because we have an integrated isolation system where we compartmentalize each and everything that we do. And we are not, in humanity, we are not separate pieces of ourselves. What we do that is internalized shows up in where we go and how we coexist in society. And so that is the consideration, and that is the notion to collectively build this restorative beacon with a lot of people that are doing healing in a lot of different modalities that are very, very impactful and very, very significant. And a lot of the work that healing and restoration that is being done, that is not being seen, that is not being acknowledged, are a lot of the preventative measures that de-escalate crisis modes that are not being addressed. And so that is why the vision for restorative beacons is one of the ideas for Community Connection Seattle, to integrate the ability for each organization, each system, each place and space where there is a restorative beacon, that they have people to be part of the circle healing process so that the capacity grows organically and normally. So that's part of the.
Well, I think that's a worthy goal. I mean, because restorative justice and restorative circles, I've always said that we can't store what we have not had. So I don't use the word too much, restorative justice, because it's one of those play on words for people. And as Mr. Ederite and I was talking while you were in the waiting room, I mean, it's hard to identify where we've had some wins for sure. But I do believe in the restorative circles because there's power in the circles. There's power and people, indigenous people have sat in circles long time. And even at one time when the Europeans was different and they had a different kind of way of life, they might have even sat in circles. I mean, and the Parthenon there in Rome. I mean, it's in Egypt. I mean, in Greece, I believe. I might have a location wrong. It's built in a circle. And all the stadiums are built in the circles. They're not built in the oblong. It's no oblong circles. I mean, it's no oblong sports arenas. It's not any. Well, I mean, even though soccer is still played in a stadium that's round.
Right. Right.
I mean, so and then. If you take that roundness back to the ancient world, I mean, the ancient world, the original chalice was a representation of the womb.
Right.
And so when you take that circle, then it comes from ancient time, and then bringing it back, because I believe some of the ancient times things that was practiced and put away by the church might be able to unify people, because they had a way of being in the world. And circles was important, sitting around the campfire or whatever they were doing.
Yeah. I want to agree with the power of circle. The fact that you brought up the concept of restorative circles and restorative. Well, how can we restore what we don't recognize what's missing, and what is the purpose for even saying restorative circles? What's the reason for it? And it is just for me, it's the term that is the most easy to identify, but the foundation and the idea is that the power is in the circle. The essence of who we are is the beginning of circles.
That's right.
One egg, one sperm created one cell that exponentially grow to the full sum of who we are. And in that sense,
that pregnant belly is a circle.
Yes, and that pregnant belly and everything that comes to the end of the pregnancy is full circle on so many levels.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. And then Creator gave us a circle. I mean, our head.
Right.
I mean, so you look at that, so yeah. I really do understand that concept. I mean, I can't say I lived in an indigenous world, not in this lifetime. My ancestors did, but But I do know the power of what it is. And I know that when I was going to school, they had the kids in a circle from time to time, and I know when they go to kindergarten and preschool, they have a circle, and that's why they need a teacher who's flexible enough to get down on to be in the circle with the children. So, and I think the children behave better when they're in a circle than when they do in straight line roads and in the classroom. I believe their behavior is better. You know.
Yes, 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 it is. It is because it's an inclusive
That's right.
space and place. I mean, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, if you're sitting in a circle, there's a energy, there's a presence of mind and thought that acknowledges the whole essence of you in that space.
That's right. And it's like your neighbor is right next to you. I mean, although when you're in the roads and the chairs, your neighbor's with you, or behind you, or in front of you, but it's a different. You're limited by the little chairs that they sit in. You know, you're limited, and so I mean, I just really like this idea because one of the things it talked about. I mean, one thing you're talking about is the energy because I'm feeling energy from circles that I've been in before. I mean, if you've ever been into a good circle, then you know one thing about energy, you know, it's not left there. You bring it with you.
No. Right.
You know, and it's right. And that's what you're talking about. Because when you can restore people to wholeness, I mean, because we're all in this world that we've experienced in my lifetime and in your lifetime, there's a lot of brokenness. It's a lot of separation, you know, and it's a lot of separation from knowing that we're all connected because our orientation, our environment, all has shown us that we're not connected. You know, we're not connected. And so that's that. I think that's the loneliness of the heart that the Mother Teresa talked about. She talked about Americans have this loneliness of the heart because of, you know, because the way that we live. And so I really like what you're bringing. I really do. I think it's going to I think it's going to be a really a benefit, and especially if the people can come together and catch the vision. It's not in a competitive way. It really is about empowering all the people who do circles because everyone is different what they come with. See, everybody is different.
Yeah, you know, I agree with that, you know, and I think, you know, the more that humankind creates and divides things that are further away from the things that connect us to creation, then that broadens the disconnect of how we coexist with one another. I'm not taking away from the necessity of how we live in this world with technology and social media and things, but it has created more and more divisive and separateness in humanity and coexistence. And that is part of the reason and the core of why circles are being considered to be integrated in various institutions and concepts. There have been people that have been utilizing that concept in the judicial system, and now there are people that are looking at how to integrate it into the educational system. And then also, how does that connect to the spiritual system and institutions? And the bottom line is that the circle concept has been always part of an indigenous culture.
That's right.
Always. And when we look at this world that we exist in, the functionality has been foundationally from the colonized mindset of structure and being. And that is the continuation of separating mind, body, soul, and spirit in how we exist in the world. And those disconnects are showing up on so many levels. And some of that is such as the lives that have been taken away, because if you know your neighbor, if you know someone, if you understand relationships with humanity, then there's a less likelihood that there wouldn't be an escalation of violence. And I think that separateness of putting each other as the other versus humanity is making it so that it's easier to disconnect
That's right.
from the depths of the impact of
That's
an
right.
action.
Well, you're so right about that. I listen every day. Dr. Patrice Berry tells a story on Facebook, and on Thanksgiving Day, she told a story about the Wetos, and she talked about what happened when the Europeans came. That they found people who were sharing one another. They were sharing when they go hunting and all of this stuff. They was living in a shared community in a village, and many times I'm sure they were in a circle. And one of the things they did is that when the young people went hunting, they always shared the food with the elders and stuff. So that's how the cycle went. The young went out, brought food for the old people and for the children. And the colonizers said, "Well, why are you doing this?" He said, "Because where we come from, whatever we go and get is ours. We don't have to share it with nobody." And so they call this the Weto. It's WETIKO spirit, and it's a spirit of what it does. It's like a spirit of greed and cannibalism because it never knows when it gets enough. And that's a spirit that's in America. I mean, that's a spirit in every continent, but it didn't come from the indigenous people. And so now when I look around the CD, recently I think about that word because, it's like people never know when they have enough. And I think people who live in community, live in circles, know when they have enough because they're sharing. They're not hoarding.
Right.
They're sharing what they have. I mean, if they're making beads or whatever they're doing, if they're getting food. I mean, and even the people who live off the reservation. I mean, because I know Mona is Yakima, and people, when they bag a elk or they can salmon. I mean, they're still bringing food to the elders. I mean, and
right.
that type of community that you're talking about that once was in America is still happening in some small places.
Right.
And then you do see people come together after tragic incident. I mean, when a tornado, earthquake, or something, you see people come out and bring that good that they have in their hearts out to help one another. See, so
right.
It does come out, but it takes a tragedy for it to come out instead of being a part of the regular day culture. And that's what you're talking about. You're talking about why can't this be part of the everyday culture?
Yes.
That loving kindness,
Yes, and the thing about, looking at, cultures, back, and there are still people that in various ways that are still living the life that you're talking about, where they hunt and gather, and there's an egalitarian, or there is no big I or little U when it comes to community. It's just that we coexist. There's various gifts and abilities that create the cohesiveness of that whole community.
Right.
And looking at how social media has escalated the disconnect and the unhealthy perception of who we truly are with one another.
Yes.
Is another passion, of concern and of care. I'm not saying that circles fix everything. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if we can take the time to acknowledge that someone that does not have the space in their everyday life, if they have somewhere where they can know that they are valued, that they are significant, that they are being heard, that the society that they exist in does have compassion and empathy. And it's not about, trying to change one person to be this way or that way, or try to dictate or mandate any of those significant things. But if we don't acknowledge the reality that humanity is really at the core of what we're looking at and what we're talking about, then the process of coming together just becomes another thing we do.
Right. And
just
I can
becomes another thing that we do. And it's not just about sitting in a circle talking. There's a deeper level of understanding and compassion and relationship and identity of I am because you are, and you are because I am.
But
somebody might be breathing in and somebody else might be breathing out. COVID has verified that the air we breathe, we all are taking it in and we all are impacted by it. COVID has verified that fact. So how can we not consider that when we are coexisting with one another, no matter the state, we are in?
Right. Now, I really do agree with that, because COVID really, it was about the very breath of God. It was about the breath you're breathing in, you're breathing in and you're breathing out. And and so I really like that connection. Let's take a break right now and come back and continue this conversation. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. We'll be right back. I love being on the air.
Lots of mistletoe, lots of snow and ice, everywhere we go, choir singing carols.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
All right. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show at 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. I love that song. I could say I'm just a child again at this time of year. It's like, okay, it's okay to be a kid. You don't have to be a kid to be a kid. I welcome my guest back, Miss Angela Davis. How you doing? You like that song too, didn't you?
Yeah, it's very festive. I'm like, who's the artist? I mean, I want to play that song again.
I think that was Stevie. Right? I believe. Yeah, I believe it was Stevie. But yes, I mean, it was quite delightful. And even if it's Stevie Wonder. Thank you so much, Eric. I mean, because it lifts you up.
Yeah.
And the world needs to be lifted up, and the work that you're trying to do is about lifting up people. So I know that you also have you have some other work you're doing under your LLC. So you want to talk about some of the other ideas and some of the other things that you're working on under your LLC?
Yes. One of the things that I'm doing is I'm working with and supporting Roosevelt's Alumni for Racial Equity under their restorative justice concept. And RARE is developing a coalition of people from various, professions, like-minded, to deal with racial inequity in Seattle public schools. And as a Roosevelt High School alumni, I became passionate because it was in an alignment with my mission to develop restorative beacons in every community. And the principal at Roosevelt High School, Tammy Brewer, and some of the board members are focusing on restorative justice with racial equity in Seattle public schools. And so they're going to be doing some restorative justice model and setting up at Roosevelt High School, but also the Seattle Public Schools has a restorative justice manager by the name of Leanne Caspi, and she is the restorative justice manager for all 113. If I have the number wrong, I'm sure someone will let me know, but I'm sure it's about 113 Seattle public schools. And so there's one restorative justice manager, and what she is looking and envisioning as they gather more support is that they are utilizing communities and organizations and things for, they're utilizing community organizations and a variety of people that are doing restorative justice to develop this cohesive connectiveness, not just, the Seattle Public Schools, but the community, the parents, all of that. And so they're laying down the foundation for restorative justice in schools. And on Wednesday, there's going to be a restorative justice kickoff, meaning that there are people that are a variety of levels of understanding and desire for restorative justice are going to be coming together. They're going to be educators. They're going to be people that work in social work with the school district on various levels. And we're all going to be coming together to begin to develop and integrate some kind of cohesiveness of restorative justice. My focus is going to be working with parents, supporting the best possible support for our young people so that our young people can begin to become the best that they can become. Mm-hmm. And the parents and the family structure is their first educator, their first structure. And as a single parent raising 3 kids and having them all in different schools at various times, I understand, the various dynamics. So that's one aspect. And then there's another organization called Multi Communities, with the director of that being Betty Watson Williams. And she is working on integrating a faith-based restorative practice that supports the domestic violence and how the church has historically supported and enabled the abuser, and shifting that paradigm. Yes. And enabling and supporting the people that are being abused, and helping the community develop a system of healing, restoration, and support for domestic violence in various natures. And so I'm supporting that as well. The other piece is working with the mental health capacity of supporting a mental health coalition of people that are doing healing and restoration and all kinds of stuff. There are people that are helping with addiction. There are people that are doing a lot of things. And so under the Institute of African Centered Thought, there is a development of a mental health coalition. And that is because there are a lot of entities that are receiving funding, such as Sound, such as NAMI, and all of those institutions, but we do not have enough culturally relevant and culturally specific healing modalities. Mm-hmm. And so the Mental Health Coalition is a collaborative and a collective of people that are working on developing that so that they can also begin to get some of that funding so that they can effectively do things. And the vision about that is that if we are in the community doing things that are decreasing crisis beds, and the funding is not following and supporting that, but the cost for crisis beds are significantly higher, why wouldn't that be a consideration? If you want to decrease costs in the budget for the county and the city and the state, why not support people that are decreasing the escalation so that there are fewer needs for crisis management for mental health? And also, one of the considerations with the coalition is, supporting mental health and circles and all of that, maybe even considering how you can integrate that as a social emotional learning tool for assessing climates in education settings and all of those things. So there's a lot of different ways. Circles are as vast as the universe.
Right.
We as humanity are the limited thing. Right.
Well, and also I think what you want to do is also humanize Black people, because the whole narrative is that we're not human. I mean, and that narrative is starting for 1452, saying that. So and then being able to address that in a good way, that children, even growing up and being born, I will be coming into a world that's been created to know that they're welcome, number one, and that they have a right to be on the planet, number two, and that they're going to thrive while they're on the planet. I mean, and I can see because that's the piece that's been missing, and also to acknowledge that we're spiritual people. I mean, we are spiritual people. I mean, Black people love God. I mean, even the people who say they don't love God love God. I mean, they just, so a place for us to be our whole total self in. I mean, is also, I think that's one way to heal mental illness. Because see, we navigate racism every day, and the young people call it microaggression and all of this stuff. I mean, we navigate these things every day. No matter how much money you have, I don't care if you're Oprah or somebody else, you're still navigating this system. But and so I see what you're talking about is that having safe places and places that honor your humanity, honor who you are.
Right.
Honor that, and then giving you a place, a space to speak up, and to be heard. I mean, and I'm also involved with the circles, and I plan to come on Wednesday afternoon over there at Garfield for that because I'm doing the Virtues Healing Circle, so it's still a circle. It's just
but it's so powerful.
But yeah. We use different materials, and everybody's using different materials. I mean, because one thing about the Creator. Didn't give it all to one group, one committee, one nothing. I mean, because so many times you can see how the Creator works. It's been people who shared the Nobel Prize. They were working on something the same and did not know it. I mean, so nothing goes to one person or one group. I mean, because some of the groups might sit on it, hide it on their basket.
Right. That's the thing, and you're talking about this narrative that we navigated ever since the invention of who we are in this country, and recognizing that we are so much more than the framing of this country. We are so much more than the things that try to discount or try to discredit the essence and the power and the beauty and the brilliance of who we are. And how do we continue to reinforce that reality of knowing? Because sometimes young people don't get that message enough.
No, they don't. They definitely don't get it enough. I mean, because we've let the wrong people teach our children. Malcolm X says, "Only a fool will let your enemy teach your children." And like Dr. Mim said, you can go to these systems, and so also the circle can be used as educational. You can have an educational circle. I mean, I'm thinking because I love history. Some people ask me, why don't I teach Black history? And I said, well, I was thinking about maybe doing like a Tupperware party. You invite your friends to come. And they pay a fee, and I'll come in and I'll do some history. I mean, because I do love history, it's okay, and so I'm just thinking about, what could we do for Black History Month, and start something that would be like a history circle,
Right. I think that's a beautiful notion.
And they come and they learn something. They learn the power of Blackness, the power of our resilience, the power that has kept us going. It's not the violence, because we weren't violent. I mean, really and truly, we had guns right after the Civil War. You had armed militia in North Carolina and South Carolina, and if we had been that violent coming out of slavery, we'd have killed a lot of people. It's no history anywhere of us massacring any people. So all this is the stories that we can tell. So the power of the circle is unlimited.
Yes, it is unlimited.
It's unlimited, and I think Creator made us to be unlimited. And we got about, I think our time is almost up. But also you do the homicide healing circles, and that's the second Friday of every month. Okay, and
yes, and you want to briefly
just help people how to get in touch with you. you know.
Okay, so if you are interested in finding anything about what I talked about, you can email me at ccsunlimited4@gmail.com. I also have a website, ccsunlimited.us, and you can also call me. I'm putting my phone number out there, 206-214-8236. This is a collaborative building strategy for healing and restoration.
Well, I want to thank you for being my guest today and bringing healing here to this to the show. I want to thank you so much, Ms. Davis, and we'll be in touch again. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. You've been listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. And we'll also check out our podcast. And I'll see you next week. Thank you.
Like I've never seen before.